Hello, Mavericks. Cannot believe here we are, end of the year, December 27th. So this is the first day back after Christmas break. So let's just jump right into it. Typically, we have what's called a Santa Claus rally. Now, the Santa Claus rally is the last 4 days of the year and the first 3 of the new year. These 7 days have a history of being up days. So when you take a look back at all the years, these 7 days typically are very strong up days. However, this year is definitely different. Now look, we might get that rally, but we definitely didn't get that today. So let's really jump into the numbers. As you can see, the S&P was not up today, it was down, but only down 0.4%. NASDAQ was down about 1%. The world indices were flat, down 0.01. Crypto had a bad day. Gold was up, oil was up a little bit, but as you can see, these aren't really big numbers. This week seems to be a week of just everyone has gone away and no one really seems to care. The big news that did happen, though, over the weekend is China removed travel restrictions. And actually, the markets were up much bigger earlier on in the week, almost up 1%, and they actually pulled all the way back and went negative here in the U.S. session. The Chinese government removed travel restrictions, but there is a huge, massive wave going on in China right now of COVID. Hospitals are overrun. Things are really dicey at the moment. However, the market likes this. And I actually have a chart up here of the Chinese markets. They were up about 4.5%, 5%. They're looking through this big wave of COVID, saying that the end is near here for the Chinese economy. So if we take a look here at what happened in the US, you can see nothing really happened. This is an inside candle, meaning the high and the low is below yesterday's high and low. It doesn't tell us a lot. We are sitting right here at this support line. This is looking more and more like a low base. And as we know, low bases, they sit here at support lines until they break below and they break lower. So we see the next band of support here at about 3,700 on the S&P. Because we are below the 50 and below the 20-day moving average, we are net bearish this market. We think the market has a greater chance of going lower than higher. We check into the world indices. They are looking better. They're holding on to their 50-period moving average. However, you can see this is still looking like a base. We had a big drop, and now we're basing a break lower. We're going to see a move down here to this 81 here on the VT. Now, typically, we take a look at the cryptos next. I'm not even going to look at cryptos. They are very uninteresting for the rest of the week here. So I'm going to put up a chart of the Chinese market. And you can see the Chinese market has had a massive rally. Here we have 21 all the way up to 29.50. So this is about a 10% run. This is about a 45% run that the Chinese market has had. Now look, if you open up a longer term chart, this is only a fraction of what is lost. The Chinese market has been truly, truly a horrible market. But you can see here, we've got a pullback, hit moving average, and then we're getting some nice velocity here. This should help currencies like the Aussie, like the Kiwi, if this Chinese market continues to go higher. But when we take a look at all the markets, we have to be to -2. This is looking like a low base here. It's not probably going to happen this week. I could easily see this week nothing happening this whole week, and then we get a breakdown next week. Or if the market does want to go up for some reason, get a break up. We'll have to wait and see. But I think this week we're going to just be drifting a little bit lower through the week. Now you can see on the calendar, there is nothing going on this whole week. It's a holiday week, so there is nothing on the calendar for you to worry about. Let's jump in and take a look at the currencies one by one and see where they stand. 24 hours ago, this is where we were. A very, very tight market. You could see that the pound was the only thing really showing some weakness. The yen and Kiwi, a little bit of weakness. A lot of stuff in the middle. Aussie, CAD, and Euro showing a little strength, but nothing great. Let's see what they did over the last 24 hours. As you can see here, crypto had a down move, and the worst of them was Litecoin. However, remember, Litecoin was the only currency that went up over the last 2 months. So Litecoin took off to the upside, and it's simply just coming back down with the rest, who have really just been going sideways the whole time. We have not been excited about crypto at all over the last couple of months. We actually don't know how much longer it's going to be going sideways. All we can do is react to what the market is showing us. In Forex, take a look. This is a pretty tight range here. Typically, we get a currency that's moving 1%, maybe even more than 1%. The biggest currency moves were the CAD and the yen, both 0.5%. So that was the best trade you could have made today, is a long CAD yen. As you can see, everything else, not all that great. The Swiss franc did strengthen a bit. The pound, which we thought was going to be the weakest, it was amongst the weakest. This is a very tight range. We don't expect there to be some great trading out there at all. If you are going to make some trades, you must. Now, we always say this is important, but in this week, it is so important. Take a look at how important pairing is. If you paired up euro versus dollar, you got nothing. If you paired up Aussie against the euro, you got nothing. If you paired up pound against the Kiwi, you got nothing. You've really had the opportunity to make a few pips on just a few currencies, and that's it. And that's really CAD, yen, and Swiss franc and pound. Other than that, there was really nothing going on here. So let's take a look at the individual charts. First up, let's take a look at the dollar. Now you can see here the dollar, the EMA is flat. We have a flat RSI, and you can see the dollar has really been in this range here for really the last 2 weeks. If we take a look at this on a daily chart, we can see, okay, we are dropping down, and you would have to call this just a low base. This is just a base here. That's all we're doing here, is just sitting here at these levels. And until we get a breakdown, we really can't be really too aggressive on dollar. We come over here to yen. You can see the yen on a daily chart had that big spike. We are pulling back. If we go into the 4-hour chart, which we like to use for our velocity score, you can see it's a very, very, very mild pullback. I'm actually waiting for this yen to strengthen and give me a little bit of buying. Right here, right now, there is no buying whatsoever in yen, so you can't pull the trigger yet. If you wanted to put one on the watch list, I think the yen deserves to be on the watch list. Moving on to Swiss franc. Overall, the Swiss franc is not going anywhere. We have been very, very neutral on the Swiss franc overall. You can see here on a daily chart, it is just not really going anywhere. Until it breaks out with some power, we're not really interested. But if we do have to score it, it is showing a little bit more strength and weakness. We got an EMA starting to turn higher. We got a parabolic SAR, RSI up around 55. Again, mildly bullish on Swiss franc. Moving over to euro, take a look at this chart. Let's just forget the euro even exists. There is no reason at all to trade this. That is no movement. Do not trade that. Don't think it's going to break out suddenly because you have no idea. Let's just move on to the next one. Pound. Pound was the only one really showing a tradable score at a -2, and it is remaining at a -2. I do like pound short. The only question is, what do I buy against it? Right here, right now, I don't see anything that I want to buy against pound. I think pound is weak, but let's keep going down the list to see if I can find something I actually want to buy. Here we come to the CAD, and for the first time in a long time, take a look at where this CAD has been. We take a look at where it's been. We had this massive downtrend all through November. We bottomed out. We've actually turned the corner here a little bit. You have to be a little bit bullish here on CAD, regardless of how you feel about it. That's just what the chart is showing. EMA moving higher. We got a strong RSI. So for me, CAD is the best looking one of the bunch that we've looked at so far. Let's finish off with Aussie Kiwi. And you can see Aussie is a little bit stronger than weaker. You take a look at where we are in the overall chart. You know, I can't really get excited about buying it here. Yes, it's at a pullback. Yes, it's at a pullback to a support level. Until it bounces and really moves higher, I'm at a +1 on Aussie at the best. Then on Kiwi, take a look at Kiwi. This is looking like a low base. We've got some low basing action here. We had a big fall, and it cannot bounce. Whenever something has a big fall and then it can't bounce, it's telling you it probably wants to go lower here. So Kiwi, I'm now at a -1. If we break down below this level, I am very happy to get more aggressive on short Kiwi. But until that happens, I think we're range bound here. Looking at our velocity score chart here, the only changes we've seen here are two. The CAD has strengthened a little bit more, and the Swiss franc is no longer a 0, it's at a +1. That's it. Looking at this, it's telling me there's really only one trade I want to be looking at, and that is going to be short pound CAD. So let's take a look at that one right now together. Let's start off first with pound CAD, looking at a daily chart just so we really see where we are. Now the pound has been much stronger than the CAD really since the middle of September. You can see that all changed, and we've been down pretty much every day for the last 10 days. Now this is where a lot of people say, Rob, this looks very overextended. Okay, you can make a point here. But you could have made that point yesterday. You could have made it the day before that. At some point, yes, it will bottom out. But right here, we don't have an RSI that's exceptionally weak. We have an EMA that's still turning that. We have a lot of things that are telling us that this is still in a move. This, to me, looks like it can come down even more. We don't have any major support really for a while here on pound CAD, all the way down to like 160. That is a lot of room here. So the question is timing. When is the right timing to get short pound CAD? We come in here to a 4-hour chart. We can see what we want to do is we want to get short off of rallies and low base breakdowns. So again, there was a great entry here about 30 hours ago, a low base breakdown. We also can take positions off these little rallies. These little bear rallies here, these little bear rallies here. We want to take these opportunities to initiate some short positions. At this point, it looks like the start of a bear rally. It is definitely not ready to short here, and we could go all the way up to 163. 163.5 before we run into the next level of resistance. I'm looking at this trade saying, okay, I like the trade, but it is not where I like it in the wave formation. I need this I either need to see a low base where we just trade down here at this lower range and then we break down, or I need to see a bear rally where I can get some sort of good price movement and then possibly entering into a short position up around the 163 area. This trade is going to need a little bit more time. Need a little bit more time to bounce up. 163, I'm going to set my alert. If we get above 163, I'm going to be actively looking for a reversal up here. If we don't get that, then guess what? I'm going to make 0 trades over the next 24 hours, and I'll come back in a day and take a look at everything again. We need to understand that we are in a low volatility environment. That means that you make less trades, not more. Some of you may be home from vacation. Some of you may be bored. The market tells you when to trade and how often to trade. You don't. Just because you don't have anything better to do does not mean you make a trade. Go find something else. This is an environment to make less trades, not more. If you are going to make a trade, you must identify the things that are moving and ignore the things that aren't. That is the key here. Everyone have a great rest of your week. Let's see if we can add to some pips this week. Don't push it. We have a whole year ahead of us starting next week. Goodbye, everybody.